Long lines, buying with coupons, bots tracking announcements on websites. All of this is the result of the incredible popularity of sneaker culture. Sneakers have long transformed into an investment tool and a quick money-making method for anyone, even those far from this culture. We will delve into all of the nuances and pitfalls of this business, from limited drops to scams with Chinese fakes passed off as originals. At the end, we will tell you how much an average reseller can earn, and the numbers are truly impressive. In 2019, the passion for sneaker reselling became widespread, creating an entire culture around it. This obsession, similar to many other fashion phenomena, was initially observed in the United States, where the culture of collecting rare sneakers has thrived for over 30 years. In the rest of the world, this trend began gaining momentum only 7 or 8 years ago, when people realized that unique sneakers could be easily found online without waiting in overnight lines in front of stores. The tremendous demand created supply, and a new fashion trend in reselling limited editions was born. According to data from the sneaker stock market stocks in 2022, the sneaker resale market in the United States was valued at $3.8 billion, a staggering amount. Compared to reports from 2019, trade volume has almost quadrupled. Experts predict that these figures will continue to grow because there is a consistent trend of interest in this culture. It's important to understand that a similar situation is happening worldwide, even in the Asian market. The sneaker business is stepping out of the shadows. Chinese factories are establishing full-fledged brands, creating interesting collaborations, and actively promoting themselves in the media. The phenomenon of sneaker reselling is particularly appealing to the younger generation. For those born in the late 90s, it seems like the perfect way to make money. Most young people start to immerse themselves in this process early in their lives because it's easy, accessible, and allows them to earn money quickly. Just look at how they're willing to stand in half-kilometer lines to get their hands on fresh kicks from iconic figures like Kanye West and Virgil Abloh, who are considered leading figures in the modern sneaker industry. Alright, it's clear that sneakers are popular, but how can an ordinary person with no sales experience profit from them? Let's explore further. The easiest way is to resell authentic models. There are several options that suit various tastes and budgets. If you don't have the initial capital to buy even a single pair, you can get into dropshipping. You won't purchase the sneakers from the supplier. Instead, you find a customer willing to buy them, act as an intermediary, and take your commission. This works reliably regardless of the rarity of the pair. In essence, you're looking for deals and trying to sell them at a higher price. After all, not everyone uses exchanges like stocks and poison. Another earning option is limited drops, where a batch of sneakers in limited edition is released. Particularly valuable are interesting collaborations. You stand in line and then resell at a hefty markup. It's simple and accessible even at a very young age. However, it's important to understand that there may be many others interested, and rare drops or places with reasonable lines are often not publicized. You can stand in line for a day only to find out that the entire drop has been bought up. The same goes for online sales of limited edition sneakers. Some resellers use special software and bots that can snatch everything in seconds. A more or less honest and accessible way to make some extra money is through raffles, essentially a lottery where winners get the chance to purchase a limited pair. If you're lucky enough to be one of these winners, you can certainly make some money. But even here, it's not that simple because there are millions of people trying. Making a steady income from raffles is almost impossible. You need to keep track of hundreds of events and be constantly in the know, hoping for your own luck. However, if you combine all three methods, you can indeed make a steady income, making several $1,000s by spending a couple of hours a day. Sometimes this could even lead to building a significant fortune if you hold onto some lucrative pairs for a few years. Long-term investments in sneakers are an excellent way to make money because the returns that owners can get are quite comparable to cryptocurrencies, but without the risk of depreciation. Brands understand very well that limited releases make a brand iconic and in demand. Let's look at these examples that would make anyone envious. The first Yeezy sneaker model, developed in collaboration with Nike and released in February 2014 for $245 a pair, is now valued at around $7,500. This impressive increase in value is not surprising, considering that there were only 50 pairs in the limited release, and they sold out in just 11 minutes. Or the Air Jordan 1 Travis Scott sneakers, introduced in May 2019, immediately piqued the interest of fashion and streetwear culture enthusiasts. This model combines the iconic style of the Air Jordan 1 with unique design elements created by Travis Scott. The sneakers feature an expressive color scheme with neutral and earthy tones, as well as distinctive details like the tongue pocket and reverse side logos. The Air Jordan 1 Travis Scott is characterized by a removable ring that can be attached to the sneaker, allowing for a unique style. Naturally, such a collaboration had a limited release. They were priced at around $175 at the start, and now it's impossible to find them for less than $1,200. Another legendary example is the Nike Dunk Low Pigeon, released in 2005, which became one of the most anticipated and coveted sneakers of its time. They earned their name due to a design inspired by urban pigeons, cleverly integrated into the color palette. Compared to regular Dunk Lows, these sneakers had unique details, like a pigeon-shaped charm and space for signatures on the heel tabs. These extra elements made the Dunk Low Pigeon rarer and more distinctive. At the time of their launch, they were priced at a modest $200, but now they can't be bought for less than $7,000, and their price keeps rising. Now, do you understand why there's such a hunt for limited pairs? It's one thing to make a quick resale for $100, and a completely different story to make thousands from each pair. But where do these figures come from? The process of determining prices on the secondary sneaker market is quite interesting, and one might say dynamic. There are no hard-set rules, but there are several key factors that influence price dynamics. First, the number of pairs released plays the most significant role. The rarer a specific model is in circulation, the more collectors pay attention to it, and consequently the price naturally increases. Second, exclusivity also factors into determining value. For instance, a collaboration with a well-known artist or store bestows uniqueness on sneakers, although this rule may have exceptions if the shoes become widely available. Third, the materials used in production can affect the price. High-quality and expensive materials can drive up the price of sneakers on the secondary market. Lastly, the popularity of a model among influential figures in the sports and entertainment industry is vital. If a pair appears on AAA-class celebrities, its price immediately starts to rise. This simple set of criteria, when combined, can create significant price differences on the secondary market. That's why all new releases are meticulously tracked by collectors, and their demand shapes the final price. Sellers can profit from price increases, while buyers can access the sneakers they desire without having to wait in endless lines. For many people in remote regions and countries with restricted sales, secondary purchases become the only way to acquire the desired pair. But it's not all that sweet, is it? And here, we simply can't avoid talking about fakes. When working with sneakers, you must be aware of all the risks. At the moment, the footwear market is overflowing with copies of varying quality, ranging from laughable knockoffs with awkward names to high-end replicas that faithfully mimic the original. Some people make millions from these by charging the full price for an item that only cost them $100. Of course, this business is illegal, especially if you present a replica as an original product, deceiving the buyer. The consequences vary from country to country, but fraud is evident. On the other hand, nearly all social media, marketplaces and platforms like Craigslist are flooded with listings selling replicas, where sellers honestly state the origin of their products. This can frustrate sneaker culture, as anyone can strut around in a rare pair, devaluing the original on their neighbor. But there's nothing you can do about it. Demand creates supply because not everyone pursues authenticity, often without delving into the history of the purchased pair. If they like the sneakers on sale and the price is right, they buy them. The amounts involved here are much smaller than dealing with original sneakers, but the entry threshold is also lower. You can always trade through acquaintances, buy a range of sizes at wholesale prices, and then list the sneakers on classified ad websites. It's a good idea to go for less extravagant models, but something popular among the masses that will meet demand. But how can you smartly find suppliers and save money? As we mentioned, there are numerous options from top global exchanges like stocks to local classified boards. It's important to understand that almost all the suppliers you can contact are ordinary resellers because working directly with factories is an impossible task for a regular reseller. You need to have a legal entity, a large initial capital, and a reputation for major brands to agree to collaborate with you. Ask everyone for a commercial offer, inquire about wholesale terms and volumes, and don't hesitate to ask silly questions. At this initial stage, we need to reach out to as many potential suppliers as possible and then filter out those who don't inspire confidence, take too long to respond, or ignore uncomfortable questions. Then compare prices and terms. It's most profitable to buy a full-size range for each model. Many chase after popular foot sizes but forget about the increased purchase price and the fact that people come in all sizes. It might happen that a buyer with size 46 arrives at your store, unable to find a specific pair anywhere else. At the outset, it's better to overpay for the opportunity to try out the sneakers, especially if one of the suppliers is nearby or there's a chance to get a sample. One common mistake is to buy cheap replicas, mark them up nicely, and then be surprised that customers are dissatisfied with the quality. You should find the right balance between price and what you offer. You can sell abysmal quality but have satisfied customers if they understand what they're buying. As in any business, first determine your customer, your target audience for whom you plan to purchase goods, and then select a supplier and models. Although it may seem that the sneaker business is complicated, we needed to warn you about all the pitfalls. Now let's take a look at the positives because there are more of them than negatives. The most significant advantage of this business is its complete universality. Age doesn't matter here. Virtually anyone can engage in reselling. There are plenty of teenagers and mature individuals making thousands of dollars in this field. What matters is having a sound mind, communication skills, manual dexterity, and of course the drive. To start this business, you won't need a lot of capital. On average, about $100 is sufficient for the initial purchase. Add to that the cost of shipping a single box and a small budget for advertising, and your initial investment will be around $150. The more you sell, increasing your purchasing volume, the lower your entry price will become. Even when dealing with original and collector's items, you can tailor your first purchase to your budget. There's no need to start with replicas if that's unacceptable to you. You don't have to look for physical space or spend money on displays and furniture. Sales can be conducted through online platforms, meeting customers at home, or a pre-arranged location. Until sales reach a certain volume, there's no point in registering a company and dealing with taxes since you're essentially reselling your own property on the secondary market. And most importantly, it's a basic necessity. People won't walk around barefoot, and they'll even buy affordable, practical, and reasonably high-quality footwear while on unemployment benefits. With your range of products, you can target the audience you want to work with. It's challenging to provide a specific figure, but solid resellers who have been in the business for several years can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. They don't even need their own stores. They work exclusively from hand to hand. In the initial stages, you can make tens of dollars from a pair if you start with individual purchases on the secondary market. Here we're talking about the simple resale of replicas or inexpensive sneakers. Afterward, you'll be able to gauge how close this field is to your interests. You can always scale up, change your direction, such as starting to hunt for drops and participating in lotteries. Having budgets for collectible pairs can significantly increase your revenue. The average profit margin when working with limited sneakers is about $200 to $250. Even large venture funds actively invest in this sector, often organizing collaborations between artists and brands because each drop is worth millions of dollars. But don't forget that this business revolves around people who also want to get their share from you. Everything will depend on your communication skills, market analysis, and the ability to make long-term decisions. After all, you can burn out anywhere, and in a niche that's flooded with replicas, it's easier than you might think. But even with all these nuances, by buying a pair for resale, you're not risking anything because in the worst-case scenario, you'll end up with sneakers that you can still use. That's why many people start with a pair in their own size. Thanks for watching.